Computer science is hard. I mean, it's really hard. You won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bendingly hard it is. I mean, you might think it's pretty tricky to update your iPhone to the latest version of iOS 8, but that's just peanuts compared to real computer science. Listen. When I was 7, my father brought home one of these. A BBC Micro. I see some nodding faces in the audience. I was in love too. I just loved it. More specifically, I loved playing video games. Frogger, Chucky Egg, Elite, Joust, Centipede. I just loved playing them all. Being taken into this brand new world of interactive entertainment was an eye-opener for me. Even better, because the BBC had a basic interpreter, I was able to write my own video games. Yeah, really, really simple to start with, but then of increasing complexity. That changed my life. While my peers were content to sit there and merely play Space Invaders, I was able to change the graphics, add new sound effects, build new levels, entire new worlds. Even better than that, my friends wanted to play the video games that I had made. It was such a huge boost in confidence, and I wasn't a genius, I was just an ordinary kid given an opportunity. Let's fast forward a few years. How do you build a game for the Xbox, or the Wii, or the PlayStation? You can't. You simply can't. No normal child can. It's impossible without an expensive computer, without extensive knowledge of computer science, being able to master complex development kits. And if you did somehow manage to create a game, how would you share it with all your friends? You can't. Not unless you're willing to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And that makes me sad. It makes me angry. Kids are disenfranchised from the act of creation. Video games become just another sugary entertainment product which slowly fattens their minds as well as their bodies. This has to stop. It has to stop, and that's where Code Club comes in. Code Club is a network of after-school clubs which teach kids computer science via the medium of teaching them to build video games. Code Club was started by these two amazing ladies, Claire Sutcliffe and Linda Sandvik. They provide all of the information that you need to get a Code Club running in your office, in your local school, in your local community. Code Clubs use the Scratch programming language. Scratch was designed at MIT to be simple and easy for kids to use, and it's completely and utterly free. And it runs on even the cheapest computer, like the £25 Raspberry Pi. And it can be used to make games. Brilliant games, wonderful games, amazing games. Let me show you how it works. This is Scratch. This is the Scratch programming language. You take blocks from one side, you drag them into the middle, you stack them up like Lego, and when you click on them, they do things. They do things to the characters that you have created, on the stage that you have created. For kids, it's Lego, basically. Drag, drop, put together. Now, if you're a computer scientist, you'll recognize their loops and variables and inheritance and all of that good stuff. But for kids, this is a computer game generating engine. So let's take a look at some of the games that the kids in our Code Club created. Well, first of all, the ubiquitous Space Invaders. Here, kids can make games where they choose the color, choose the motion, choose how fast, how hard it is. Brilliant, all done in under an hour. Does everyone remember Flappy Bird? Yes? Have you still got it on your phones? Stick it up, hands up if you've still got it. A few there? Great. When this was huge, it swept the playgrounds like wildfire, and so kids created Flappy Bat. 45 minutes of Scratch, and you have got the next big game. Now, those of you of a certain vintage will probably recognize this, the humble text adventure. Yes? Go west, open crate, take gold. You can use Scratch to create interactive storytelling. And we sometimes think of games as sort of fairly lonely pursuits, but no, you can create two-player games with Scratch. So two of you huddled around a keyboard playing against each other. And If you're good enough, you can create immersive 3D worlds. If you learn Scratch, you can be the next Notch. That's Minecraft, for those of you older than 14. So, how did we do it? How did we get Code Clubs started in Telefonica? It was really easy. We went to the Code Club website, we registered our club, we block booked a meeting room, and then we went onto Yammer. We put an invite out saying wanted kids aged 9 to 14 to learn to code. We were inundated with kids. We ended up with 6 boys, 4 girls, and a long, long waiting list. And then, every Monday at 4 o'clock, 10 kids would come to the Telefonica office in Slough, and my colleague Nicola and I, wave, Nicola, just over there, wave. We'd teach them coding for 60 minutes. At the end of the 60 minutes, they got to show off their video games to their friends and to their parents. And then the next week, we did it again, and then again, and then again, and then again. Over the entire course, not a single child dropped out. Even better, on 2 separate occasions, kids had to go on holiday. So they begged their parents to take along a laptop so they could Skype back into the lessons. I mean, can you imagine kids giving up their holidays to learn computer science? The youth of today. The biggest problem we had, actually, was from parents. Parents would come up to me and say, video games are a waste of time. They are just toys. Why can't you teach the kids something useful? Something like Excel or PowerPoint. It's a fair question, and this is how I answered them. Just by a show of hands, how many people saw the Disney film Frozen? How many people can sing the soundtrack to it? Yeah, good, later. Frozen, at the UK box office last year, made £32 million in the UK. By contrast, the highest grossing British film of last year was Philomena. That made £12 million at the box office. Let's put that into perspective. The biggest selling video game of last year was British made. It was Grand Theft Auto 5, and it made £65 million in UK sales alone. This is it. This is the new technological frontier. Now, I was told that I wasn't allowed to put a graph into a TED Talk because it puts people to sleep, but I'm going to risk your attention for this. And don't worry, it's not made in Excel. So I took a look at the 4 big entertainment industries in the UK and their stated sales in 2013. So to make this graph fun and interactive, just call out how many volume of sales of music in the UK in 2013 in millions. 500 million? Any advance of 500 million? 300 million? 200 million? Okay, well, you're all wrong. So music sales in the UK, 730 million, represented by Beyoncé there. Why not? Okay, so, and you know, this is a big industry. This is why kids are pushed to learn a musical instrument, learn to sing. £730 million worth of sales in the UK alone. So cinema. How many cinema ticket sales in 2013 last year? Do we think it is higher or lower? A bit louder, sorry, I can't hear. Higher, okay, let's see. Higher, yes, £1 billion worth of cinema tickets sold in 2013, excluding popcorn. And, you know, this is why kids are pushed into drama clubs. You know, this is a huge, vital part of the of UK industry. So, books. A bit of an obvious one, no one reads books anymore. Do we think book sales in the UK were higher or lower? Let's take a look. 3.3 billion pounds worth of books were sold in the UK alone. Yeah, no one reads anymore. So finally, games. Do we think games are going to be higher or lower? What a good audience you are. £4 billion worth of games sold in the UK in 2013. I mean, games are only a small part of the computer industry, but they're a massive part of the creative sector. And the kids need skills. Coding doesn't happen. It's not an innate talent. It's something that needs to be taught. So that's what we did. We taught kids to code. So as I said, Code Club provide all the downloads, so the worksheets and everything else that the kids need. But I decided to give out 4 rules to the kids, just to help things run a little smoother. So let's hear from them now. What is the first rule of Code Club?
The first rule of Code Club is to have fun.
What's the second rule of Code Club?
Read the instructions.
Third rule of Code Club?
Ask for help. 2 seconds left.
What's the 4th and final rule of Code Club?
Share your knowledge.
Brilliant. Thanks so much to the kids and the parents for letting us film that. So the first rule, I think, is fairly obvious. Have fun. If you're not enjoying yourself, it's not a great learning environment. We want kids to want to be there. The second rule, read the instructions. So we took this from Atul Gawande's The Checklist Manifesto, which is a brilliant book explaining how checklists save lives in hospitals and help pilots. And what this means is that when a kid has the instructions, they can go through and see what they've done. So rather than staring at a screen going, why won't you work? Which is, it's frustrating, it's rage-inducing, it damages their confidence. It allows them to see what they've done, what they've not done, the steps they've missed. And all of a sudden, rather than asking me for help, they have self-empowered troubleshooting. And that just boosts their confidence and their self-esteem. But we do say, the third rule, ask for help. Coding is not a solitary pursuit. It's not about being a lone genius. It's about being part of a community. And being part of a community means you need to know how to structure a question. The classroom and the workplace are very similar. They're both social spaces, and we need to teach children how to collaborate. And one of the best ways to do that is to get them to ask questions. Now, what I always tell them is, don't ask me a question first. Don't make me your first port of call. Ask the kids sitting next to you, which is where rule 4 comes in. Share your knowledge. We tell the kids, if someone asks you for help, you have a solemn duty to stop what you're doing and help them. We want you to be part of a community. We want you to be open source with your attitude to knowledge. And when you see one kid teaching another kid something they've learned, you know that they've understood the material. And all of this goes to make a nice, harmonious classroom, which really gets the creative juices flowing. Now, I see some people looking skeptical when I say that coding is creative. But it is. It really, really is. Programming is not just the mechanics of how a monster moves about the screen. Some kids naturally focus on what does a monster look like? How is it animated? What does it move like? Coding is art. Some kids focus on why is the monster chasing you? What do I have to do to escape? Coding is storytelling. Some kids focus on noises. What does a monster sound like when it eats you alive? Kids are weird. And this is it. Coding gives you the full range of creative skills. And despite what the government says, learning to code is not about getting a job. It's not. It's not about improving the economy. Learning to code, it teaches children logical thought. It teaches them problem solving. It teaches them art. It teaches them maths. It teaches them collaboration. It teaches everything that you need to know to get started in a modern digital world. And these skills are absolutely vital. Kids cannot go on without knowing how the computers that they use day in, day out work, and to not know how they can control them. These are skills that we have to teach them. And it's up to us. It is up to all of us. So I'm asking everyone here and everyone around the world, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to the Code Club website. I want you to register. I want you to invite kids into your offices. I want you to teach them about the joy of coding. I took 10 ordinary kids and I turned them into 10 video game designers. Now it's your go. Thank you very much.